Yeah, I know, man. I'm like, 7:31, 7:32. I'm here now, okay? I'm here and I'm happy to be here. It's been a little too long yet again, but you know, it is what it is when you got family and jobs and business and animals. Oh, and the fact that you're completely submerged in snow. Y'all didn't tell me. I guess maybe I should have known that when I moved so far up north, I'd be running into this stuff called snow. And well, my first couple years up here, pretty chill, you know, not that bad. And then this past weekend hit, and yeah, it was it was wild how much snow we got. All right, how's everything sounding, by the way, guys? How's everything sounding? Um, Kelsa's text said, "What's that sound?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So, um, hope everything's good. All right. And yes, I am very much so aware that more is on the way. Really excited about that. So, hey guys, welcome back. Happy New Year. Or no, I've live streamed since the New Year, right? Yeah, I definitely have. And I just got back from Shot Show. It's a short show for me, only a couple of days, and yeah, things are pretty good at everything, I guess. My mind's racing because obviously we got a lot to talk about tonight. First and foremost, my signature series with Dane Defense, the Mark 18 that you see, right there. The SBR variant is now available. Just search Daniel Defense Mag Dump. It should be like the first thing that comes up for you. So that's exciting. We keep, I keep saying, "Oh, what's up, Hootie Hoo? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, my man." And saying everything sounds good. Great, great. And we're going to get to this too. Do we or do we not have the 2A? That is the question. The answer is we have the Second Amendment. Do we have the politicians that are actually going to abide by the Constitution? And throughout the course of history, that has been a very solid no, because the NFA still exists, because the Hughes Amendment exists, because the Gun Control Act exists, because state law seems to supersede federal law sometimes, but yet federal law wants to interject in state law, but not actually check themselves when it comes to federal level gun control. We'll get into all of that. Do we have the Second Amendment? Yes. But do we have politicians and representatives that actually abide by the Constitution and obey the Constitution, because it is them, the government, that's actually regulated by the Constitution, not we the people? That's the question. All right. So with that, let's start with Shot Show. All right, let's start with Shot Show since that's kind of fresh on everybody's mind. Well, it's probably being overshadowed by everything else in the news right now, but there were some cool things. There was some meh, you know, this year seemed kind of slow to me. I was there for the two busiest days, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, and it seemed kind of slow. Granted, I was spent a majority of my time at Caesars Forum, not the main area for the show. For those of you that aren't in the industry or have been to Shot Show or anything, it's a very big event. There's a basement, there's the main floor, there's a top floor, there's the Caesars Forum, which is connected to it, and it just goes. And there's things after hours, there's things before hours. It's just nuts, right? So yeah, some of the more interesting things that I saw at Shot that I'm really excited about are, I could actually probably like show pictures of some things. I just don't have them on my computer, but I can send them to my computer and pull them up as files or whatever and show you guys. But one of which, Roswell Firearms and the SR3M. It's a 9x39 for those of you that know. Imagine like the Russian honey badger, all right? Lightweight, great for suppression. I've shot Brandon Herrera's 9x39, and I got to tell you, it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm really excited for that later this year. Maybe we'll do like a goals launch. And if you don't know what goals is, that's Gun Owners of America's annual event this year, taking place in Des Moines, Iowa, to celebrate GOA's 50th anniversary, which is ironically right around the 250th birthday for the United States, which will be celebrated at the Iowa State Fair. So that's pretty exciting, if you ask me. So the SR3M, lightweight, compact, shorty, 9x39, and I'm really excited for it. If you haven't seen that before, go ahead and Google it. I think you'll like it quite a bit. And Keith, 2A taxation is theft. All taxation is theft. All right, all taxation is theft. Got a couple. I got a super chat coming in from Tanner. Always, thank you, man. Instead of me moving to New Hampshire, you should move here to Minnesota and open a daycare with me. They're raking in the cash here. Well, hopefully, not for much longer. That's the other thing. We can talk about these little daycares, right? That was an interesting drop, and then all this other stuff is happening in Minnesota. Tim Waltz, man, what has he got going on over there? You know, and we missed out. He could have been our VP. You know, we missed out. You know, just think about all this excitement that's consolidated to Minnesota right now. Could have been the entire United States. We're getting there, aren't we? Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Thank you. X marks the spot. Bourbon Fund. Thank you. Stay warm. Snow Cowboy. That is me. That is me at this point. Even though I don't have any cows, I'm sure that is more of a I don't have any cows yet. That should be, yeah. So with that, oh, I could have even shown that. Kels wanted me to remind everybody too that the winners for the Operation Blackout giveaway during the premiere and all that, the stop boxes look fantastic. We've got the patches and all that. I kind of rushed to get down here, or else I would have had all this stuff with me. Sorry about that, guys. But you guys will be notified and getting your stuff soon. Okay, so. With that, though, Bourbon Fun, Stay Warm, Snow Cowboy, appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Echo, what's good with you? Thank you for being here. Yeehaw, Country Bear Assassin, thank you for being here. You're saying Coleon Noir did a really good job, or an explanation of shooting. And yeah, Coleon just does a good job. He really does. And so, you know, I personally know him, and he's spot on. Him, Washington Gun Law, you know, William Kirk, Armed Attorneys, all these guys just do great stuff, you know. And of course, Jared, my buddy, Guns and Gadgets. I was lucky enough, even though I was there only for a short time, to grab lunch with Jared. Great guy. Freaking love that man. He's just such a good dude. And Brandon, of course, too. Which, by the way, if you guys are fans of this, ought to be kind of spicy now that I think about it. If you're a fan of mine, a fan of Brandon Herrera's, you're in Texas, we've got a pretty cool event coming up together next month, February 13th. It's our Guns N' Roses event. Just search, you know, Gun Owners of America, Guns N' Roses should come up. I think it's goaevents.org/guns-and-roses. Yeah, just search that. Cool event. It's a range event with me, Brandon Herrera, and I talked about Armed Attorneys. Emily from Armed Attorneys is going to be there. A couple of other Texas locals, and Kyle Rittenhouse. So if we want to talk about armed protesters, which, you know, we'll talk about in a minute. So obviously I'm pretty lighthearted. I think most of you guys get that. I can get pretty fired up, especially when we've got politicians and even presidents that are supposed to be pro 2A saying things like, oh, he had a loaded gun and 2 magazines. Oh my God, that's not good. That's not good. You know, shut up, right? Like the Second Amendment is there for a reason. It's not mutually exclusive to any other amendment. You can practice your First Amendment and your Second Amendment together. Where it starts getting a little weird is whenever you move beyond exercising your freedom of speech. And I think that's really all I need to say. Because, look, I don't really want to speak about the entire Alex Petty thing. I've thought about it. I've seen so many videos. I've seen even newer footage come out of like his actions last week, which really don't matter. I'll be honest with you. What he did last week or the day before doesn't really matter. It kind of matters what led up to the situation in that moment when he eventually lost his life. if he was getting physical, if he was brandishing, all of these ifs that I don't know about, what am I going to do other than just stir the pot a little bit more? All I can say is he had a right to carry a gun. He had a right to protest. If it went beyond that, then that's on him. All right. So, what am I saying? Goat DR. Committing felonies while armed, does that not matter? What felonies did he commit? I don't know. I haven't seen an investigation just yet. I haven't seen a court ruling just yet. I haven't seen any of that. So there's a lot that, like I'm saying, that I just don't know about. Just Jake again, you didn't get a notification for this? Well, email YouTube or something and be like, hey, what the heck, guys? I didn't get a notification. So thank you, Jake Boxer. Appreciate it, man. Happy New Year to you as well. Trump is doing his Order 66 on guns. Me being a Star Wars nerd, I get that. So Trump is going to say what he wants to say. I'd like to see what he's going to do at the end of it all. And this is the problem dude, this is where things get so torn, because the Democrats are now using like pro-gun talking points. The Republicans sound like a bunch of bootlickers, and it's just like, I often find myself having more conservative ideas and leaning towards the Republican Party more so. But I'm definitely more of a Thomas Massie fan. I'm definitely more of a Rand Paul kind of guy. I'm definitely more no taxation, Second Amendment absolutists. Don't involve us in foreign wars. Don't send our money to foreign countries. And just focus on all the crap that we have going on here at home. Pretty simple. I thought that would be kind of falling under the entire America First motto, but so much for that, I guess. So with all of that, and you want to quote that? Open borders? Because I'm not for open borders. But at the end of it all, you're right. Illegal immigration is not cool. But that's also another fine line of things. And that's not my specialty. I'll be completely honest with you. My specialty, where all my knowledge, where I put most of, if not all of my effort, is into the firearms community. With Gun Owners of America. With standing up to politicians, both Republican and Democrat, trying to force down our throats more anti-gun legislation and anti-gun rhetoric that could sway the minds of people incorrectly. So that's where I'm at. With that, I'd like to hear from you guys, because I know the Monadnock Shootist. I saw you here in the chat. The guy was carrying a SIG 320. Do you think SIG's marketing team just like, when they saw that, I feel like I need to text a couple of guys I know over at SIG and just be like, y'all okay? You've been through a lot, this past year, 2 years. How y'all doing? I didn't have really time to swing by their booth at SHOT Show now that I'm thinking about it. I did go to FN's. Speaking of Monadnock Shootist, being the Scar fanboy that he is. And look, you see the FAL, as I'm trying to get out of the way here. You see my roadie FAL right here from DS Arms. I got another one that's above the American flag. And I've got another one that's somewhere else right now. But I'm definitely a huge fan of the FAL for comparing platforms, all right? But the Scar Gen 2, we'll call it, the new Scar, I got my hands on it. I didn't shoot it, but I did get my hands on it. And the thing that impressed me the most about it is you will not void the warranty by suppressing this one. You have a longer M-LOK rail. It looks good. It looks like a pretty impressive gun. I'm excited to hopefully one day eventually get my hands on one and try it out. Maybe do a, comparison, old versus new, but I think we're all going to like the new one quite a bit. Anyway, let me get back to the chat over here. Coming back on over. Solo Gordo, good to see you. Definitely getting the Huxworks 45M can. Been waiting for a flow through for my XTAR 45. How do you like that XTAR? By the way, I think I've got I think I'm going to be trying something of theirs relatively soon. So, yeah. What's this? X marks the spot. New Mexico state legislature is starting to pass a gun, mag, and FFL ban. Are they going to ban gun shops? I'll keep you posted. Please do. I'm sure that if I check some of our legislative chats, things like that, that we will. I'm sure that's lighting up somewhere within the GOA chats. All right. Crunchy Taco, good to see you, man. 320s dropped in price on the used market, some instances down to high point prices. So there's that. So let's see here. One party's passing assault weapon bans. The other party just gave us $0 SBR and suppressor stamps. The both sides saying does not exist in reality. Well, sure. We did get, I mean, let's think about this, right? A win is a win. You're absolutely right. We got $200 tax down to $0 tax. However, is that going to be there to stay? Because yes, you're talking about the other side passing assault weapons bans. The other side has also come out and said, well, if we can reduce the tax from $200 to $0, we should actually adjust it for inflation and make the tax stamp $4,709. This is also the same party that had the parliamentarians strike the language from the big, beautiful bill to actually gut the National Firearms Act. That parliamentarian could have been overridden by the vice president, could have been overridden by the Republican Party, but wasn't. So there was a compromise made somewhere, and we got a $0 tax stamp. Okay, maybe I'm missing the 4D chess thing here, but as I've said before, at state levels, we're seeing federal involvement when it comes to gun legislation, and that's good because the steps that they're taking, they went after Puerto Rico even for law enforcement taking too long and hindering individuals in Puerto Rico from getting carry permits and things like that. Cool. We also saw, well, we've seen actually quite a few different things, but the biggest thing that really bothers me is the federal government is willing to go to the states and say, hey, you can't do that. But the federal government is not checking themselves. They keep defending the National Firearms Act. The registration is still there. The tax at the end of it all is crumbs. Yeah, sure, give credit where credit's due, but don't just take the bone and think you're good. And that's been my biggest message here on my channel. Don't get complacent. Just because a Republican is in office doesn't mean our gun rights are good. I mean, last time Trump was in office, we got the bump stock ban. We didn't get national concealed carry reciprocity like what we're working on right now. We didn't get the dismantling of the NFA. We're closer now, but we didn't get these things. We got more anti-gun legislation. So yeah, it's expected when one party is passing the assault weapons ban. It's not so much expected, and that's why people get complacent when a Republican is in office. So you can fight me on this all you want, but the truth of the matter is there's Republicans and Democrats that would like to see you stripped from your right to be able to defend yourself from them. Anyway, I'm showing up late. Peter, it's good to see you, meet you at SHOT. I ran into Peter at SHOT Show. He came by the GOA booth while I was there recovering from making my rounds. And dude, your holsters look great. I'll be happy to display one, show one, wear one next time around. But Virginia is really concerned. SB 217. This is some really bad stuff. This is some like Maryland 2.0 2013, if I'm remembering correctly. A lot of anti-gun, gun control, all that type of stuff happening in Virginia right now. So help Virginia out, guys. I've been, with GOA and everything, we've been posting about it. So check all that out. Solo saying he loves his X-Tar. Just gassy with your Yankee Hill 45 can. Good to know. JC, New Mexico has a crappy governor. Gotcha. Let's see. We got another super chat over here too from Longer1490. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Thoughts on the Dead Air Lazarus 6? I was at Ruger and the Dead Air Range Day with Monadnock Firearms up here in New Hampshire. And I shot a bunch of Dead Air stuff because I didn't have a lot of experience with Dead Air. And Now the problem is I don't remember what I shot. I should have documented it a little bit better. But the Lazarus 6 I'm not too familiar with. So thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I like Dead Air, like the guys over there. As far as that specific can, I don't think I can give you much authentic information on it. Apologize about that. But I'm hoping to make that change, all right? Okay, Country Bear Assassin, what was your favorite thing you've seen at SHOT Show? I keep hearing it's all just the same regurgitated crap, anything worth a damn. So I already talked about the SR3M. Cool. The EOTech first focal plane 4 to 12. That was cool. I got my hands on that. Bull Armory. Okay, so Bull Armory just keeps doing like cool stuff, right? They've got this new, it's called the Link Trigger. It's got over, okay, and it goes on other platforms, not just their SAS2 guns. They kept saying like other guns and kind of winking, which makes me think it's going to go on a staccato also. But you can replace essentially the trigger shoe to these 12 different designs, all with like an Allen wrench. And it's something that my buddy Ben over at Bull Armory, this is like his baby. He's been working on it for a long time. He seems very excited about it. And if Ben has his hands on it or involved with it, I know the type of testing that goes into all this stuff. But I'm responsible, actually. They admitted there, and through the phone calls and conversations that I've been having with Bull Armory, they admitted to me that they started making their own gas pedal for their competition guns because of me. You know, they're like, all right, if Clint's having such a hard time with getting this installed, getting these correct screws and these adapter plates and everything, so that way it lines up to the frame on the Bull Armory, then our everyday purchaser is going to have these problems. Let's make this a little bit more seamless. And they did. And it's just cool that they listened to that feedback. So anyway, this trigger link system that they're coming out with looks very cool. And I do believe it's going to be coming standard in the new TAC comps. So that's exciting. I saw that. There was, all right, I just read one comment. All right. Did JC, did Operation Bigger Shirt happen with Kaya? You know, I don't know. I don't know. FN entering budget pistols with boring gun. Did they? Like I said, I was running around so much. I kind of missed that, right? There's a lot that I wish I saw that I didn't get to. I do like Henry's new. Well, they've got a lot of new SKUs coming out, but they have now the new protector and provider lines, and they also have the bear's leg now. So you know that's cool. So the if I remember correctly, the Protector series, imagine the traditional walnut stock and fore end, but now with a threaded barrel and 357 and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And yeah, of course, FN too. You know, I didn't look at their grenade launcher, but I did look at the new Scar, as I've already mentioned, and I like that quite a bit. So you have to be a special person to buy Bull Armory. I don't know about that. What you're meaning by that, but as much as I think you're trying to make a statement here, you don't have to be a special person to buy Bull Armory. All right. Let's see here. There's Republicans and Democrats, and then there are us, the Americans, who are stuck somewhere in between, right? Yeah, good times, good times. FBI, no gun in protests. Martin Martinez. Yeah, you know, let me just. I've already said my 2 cents on this. I've already said you can carry a gun. The 2A and the 1A are not mutually exclusive. Okay? You can carry a gun at protests. What you choose, the actions you take while protesting, could put you in a crappy situation. And so I'm going to preach, as I often do, this: be an asset, not a liability to society. Train with your firearm, carry a quality firearm, make sure you have quality gear. Keep your head on a swivel, be vigilant, and the biggest thing that us everyday gun carriers who train with our firearms, seek out these extra courses, carry extra magazines, We typically know when we leave our house, we're checking our ego at the door, and we're making sure that we're getting to our firearm. If we have to draw our gun, it is the very last thing we have to do. Conflict avoidance is usually something we try to do. Like, hey, you know what? That guy just cut me off. I am guilty of it. Somebody pulled out in front of me over some of the dumbest thing. Like I'm driving through a parking lot. There's a parking space right here. I'm not even going for that parking space. I'm leaving. And this dumb woman with my kids in the car and everything else just hauls ass to try to get in front of me because she thought I was going for that spot. I blew the horn. Yep. And I immediately, just out of like just frustration, like I got my kids in the car and stuff like that, but I went the opposite direction of the way I should have. I should have just put on the brakes, just drove on. Like, okay, you're an idiot. Leave it at that. Thankfully, nothing else came of it. But what I actually did, lay down on the horn and, yep, gave a sign, right? Like, are you kidding me? Kelsey was in the car too. She corrected me. Said, you know what? You're right. You're right. Swallow that pride for a second. But yeah. So I got to practice what I preach a little bit. But at the end of it all, just trying to stay cool, guys. Avoid these situations. But at the same time, if you're really passionate about something and you want to get involved, that's understandable too. But you got to do it in the right way. Hell, yeah. Yeah. It's tough out there. I'll just say that. Can't find them in stores. Well, that's because they don't do that. You have to buy right from their website, then they can deliver it to your FFL of choice. Now, that's not to say that they won't do that, speaking of Bull Armory, because at SHOT Show, they said, hey, dealers, sign up here. And so we'll see. I'm hoping that they start making the level of inventory to be able to bring some into the U.S. to actually stock shelves. But if that comes at the cost of quality, I don't want that. I don't want this to be Kimber 2.0 back in like the early, 2010s. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Kimber was kind of renowned being this quality gun. The demand was so high. And then they were just like, oh, let's just get them out the door. And then their quality plummeted. And I don't think they really ever recovered. They're coming back because they made like the 2K11 and some other things. And it's like, okay, cool. But they hit that reputation. And my first 1911 I bought was a Kimber, actually. And so, yeah. What I don't want Bull Armory to do is to sacrifice quality for quantity. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. And we need some more of this mindset in society. Like, don't get me wrong. You can be passionate about these things, as I have been. I've gone down to Massachusetts to protest for the Second Amendment and against the government overreach down there. Granted, completely different things. Because if we're comparing these anti-ICE protests, it's where they're currently operating. Am I right? Like they're doing their job in that moment, and now you're impeding or hindering them from doing that job that essentially we the people voted for at the end of the day. Like let's not turn a blind eye to that. A majority of Americans voted for this platform that the president essentially ran on. We also voted for him because we thought we were going to be getting a release of the Epstein files, but we see how well that's gone. So sometimes you can't help but just to laugh. So if you're directly involving yourselves with law enforcement operations, not involving in you're helping, which you also shouldn't do because, well, that's not your job. Unless it is your job, then do your job. But with all of that being said, just don't interfere. Blow your little whistles. That's protected under the First Amendment. But the moment you're getting up in their faces and stuff, you're kind of hindering their job, Which again, we the people voted for. So, that's kind of how I feel about that. All right. Be a gray man, not a dead man. That's yeah, that's that. Let's see here. Oh, Rainier Arms usually has Bull Armory in stock. That's cool. I wonder if they know somebody too. Yeah, it was a bit pricey. I think the appeal of the SD is the classic look. What are we talking about? I am in a completely different conversation between you and Tanner. Oh yeah, I did see that, like $3,800. Tanner, true SD with the ability to hub mount different cans. What are we talking about? The PSA thing? Will they? I don't know. I know that they keep. This is a good question. I know they keep. I mean, I like PSA. I like what they're doing at the end of the day. You know, I mean, I've got my M16A4 that's off camera that you can't see, but you know, I really like that. I also have a Mark 12 that's also off camera and you can't see, and the Super SAS. You know, pretty cool. Let's see here. So, Longer 1490, thank you again for another super chat, sir. Greatly appreciate that. Oh, I got good news for you guys, by the way. Well, it's better news for me, but I'll talk about it in a moment. ADHD strikes again. Do you lean FSP front sight post or flat rail for the M4A1 Riz 2? Well, I guess because this is what I did. I had a Colt LE6920, imagine M4A1-esque, with the front sight post with the Riz 2 cutout, the Riz 2 FSP. I liked it a lot, thought it was cool, and then I just kind of just didn't fall in love with it, right? It just wasn't like, you know? But now I have the M4A1R3, which is the M-LOK rail. I don't have a Riz 2 M4. I do have an LMT 14.5 quad rail, which is also barely off camera. Like you can kind of see it, right? It's you see that little bit of FDE right there? That's a rail cover for it, all right? And then the Surefire can that's right over there. So what do I lean towards? I do typically lean towards the flat rail for the M4A1, but the front sight post gang, where you at? Carry handle gang, where you at? That's a vibe. I really like that. But for typically what I'm doing, I'm mounting things, you know, pretty far forward of the rail for lasers, night vision, which is what I'm going to be talking to you guys about, and lights and stuff, you know. But you know, front side post is cool. There's an aesthetic, there's a vibe, there's practicality there, and I like it quite a bit. But yeah, I lean towards flat top. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is Centerfire 9th. Centerfire 9th is a gun shop out of Las Vegas. I made friends with them last year at Goals, actually. They are friends with my friends over at Coreware, and Jeff over at Centerfire 9th found out that I needed an ammo sponsor. And this man was kind enough to say, you tell me what you need, I'll send it your way. And so Centerfire 9th, big shout out to them for providing ammo to the channel. However, Jeff is also a jerk. And here's what I'm going to say about Jeff. Jeff said, you don't own a pair of binos, night vision? Like, no, actually I don't. I got my little PVS 14 that I picked up from Monadnock Firearms. And that's really all I've been using. And I'm actually using it for, like, you know, recording in night vision, not so much wearing it anymore. And he said, okay. So this guy asked me, would you rather have, you know, ammo for the next 5 months or a set of Gen 3 2000 FOM binos? It's like, well, I can't believe he was going to make me choose. But anyway, when you see me rocking my new set of binos, you'll know which way I went. All right. Big shout out to the guys at Centerfire 9th. Jeff is awesome over there. And he was also polite enough to say, like, I'll still probably send you some ammo, but you know, I just want to hear you made a choice. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So Centerfire 9th, check him out, look him up. And while we're talking about it, you know, hold up displays. You guys see the wall behind me, the shelving, the gun racks, both, you know, horizontal and vertical that I've got everywhere. I did that backwards, but you know what I mean. The plate carrier helmet setup, all of that. Hold up displays has it. Check them out. You're going to absolutely love them. My buddies over at Gun Camp, they're doing great things out of Illinois. It was really good to run into almost all of these guys at SHOT Show this year, including Eddie and a couple of guys from Gun Camp. Just great dude. So that was that was awesome. And DS Arms. You guys want FALs? You should. You should want FALs because the battle rifle is supreme. And, well, there's just something about that classic Rhodesian camo that I have behind me on that one. 308 DS Arms is where it's at. All right. The PTR. Thank you guys for confirming the PTR MP5 SD. $3,800. You say, wow, that's that's pricey. But yeah, what are we gonna do? But anyway, I brought all that up, because a lot of you guys were. That's a big, beautiful wall. But because a lot of you guys have donated to the Nods Fund and everything else, and it looks like it's finally going to happen, and the ammo fund, and man, you guys are the best. So now, because there's always something, right? We got the horses, chose to got. This is my good karma. I got my wife what she wanted with the horses. I sacrificed the money that was in my Nods Fund for a Connemara. No, that's not a Porsche, by the way, Canamera or anything like that. No, that's a Connemara Irish pony. All right. That's my night vision. Out there eating the $400 in hay that I have to buy right now because of all this snow. And if you don't know horses, them constantly eating hay is like a built-in furnace to stay warm, okay? I'm learning all this as we go. So my good karma is I met Jeff. He's now providing the ammo at Centerfire 9th and the binos. Like, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, God. Thank you, my wife, for setting me up for good karma. So there we go. Happy wife, happy life. So they say, and things are pretty good. All right. So there you go. All right, so I've already talked about this a little bit with SB 217 that's happening in Virginia, and a lot of other House bills that have been introduced and everything. And Virginia, Peter, who's in here, Peter Castle 2A, we talked a little bit about this at SHOT Show. He's already mentioned how screwed they are because he's in Virginia. That's why I bring him up. And it's rough, man. It is really, well, put it this way. Everybody at GOA is very much so aware. We're doing everything that we can to try to fight this. And like I said, we're going to do what we can. Stuff ain't cheap, though, as I am finding out also. So there you go. No, by the way, it's not any Glock horses here. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Glock, they're a firearms manufacturer. They make knives, or at least, brand some knives. And, if the firearms venture doesn't work out for Glock, which apparently it has, horses. That's right. Just look up Glock horses. Oh, I did see Catherine Glock. She was there. That is a tall, slender woman. And she seemed very happy to be talking and meeting with everybody. So that's cool. Tactical horse, that's just saying. Yeah, I don't know the different generations of perfection when it comes to their horses, but I'm sure they've had a lot of practice at that too. So continuing on there, no grandfathering in the VA bills, turning millions into felons overnight. That is correct. There is no grandfathering with the magazine bans, all of it. And you're absolutely right. Turning millions into felons overnight. This is the problem with shall not be infringed. It's being infringed. I've got, you guys can just make believe what my choice words are for the politicians and, again, representatives in Virginia that are doing this to the people. You have the right to at this point, I don't care what firearm it is. You have the right to own it. Our Second Amendment says that. Okay? That's just as plain as I can put it. And these politicians that are looking to disarm you should not be trusted, and they should not be reelected. But yet, it keeps happening. They also shouldn't be becoming millionaires after 1 or 2 terms, but that's a whole other issue, right? They also shouldn't be sending our money overseas anywhere, but, again, that's a whole other issue. So it's been infringed across the country in so many ways. It absolutely has. Republicans, you're not wrong whatsoever. And all I can say is we are trying very hard to restore the Second Amendment. It is a battle. It is tough. But that's why there's so many of us working hard, so many people that are vocal too. And that's why I've said so many times, like, hey, all of you out there that might be a little hesitant to film yourself running some drills at the range, do it, upload it, normalize this behavior of being a well-trained, well-armed American citizen. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be applauded for it, actually. Run those drills, and maybe, hey, Magdump Mafia, Magdump Militia, Magdump fans, whatever, maybe we start our own little community here, right? Community is one of the biggest things I like to preach about because, and I say preach because let's be real, when I'm talking to all of you and it's just me talking, it sounds preachy. I don't mean for it to be, but at the same time, it's like, look, I'll preach about this community. All of you watching here, typing all this stuff right now, this is a community. And I appreciate every last one of you, over 100 of you here right now that is just hanging out. To some streamers, that might not seem like a lot. But you start imagining all these people, 134 of you, 33 of you, 35 of you, whatever it might be, 130 of you in a room, all of us together right now, that's going to fill quite a few different rooms, conference rooms, offices, floors to buildings, whatever it might be. And that's a big deal. If there's only a dozen of you, think about that. That's a conference room that you guys can brainstorm in, that you guys can make some moves and changes. You don't have to have this huge following to do great things. And so I encourage you, maybe this will be part of my higher up wellness challenge, my daily uploads that are becoming less and less daily. Sorry about that. But don't be afraid to speak, to use your First Amendment. As I've often said, use your First Amendment in defense of the Second Amendment and normalizing what the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment is assault rifles. Yes, I said it because they do exist. The Second Amendment is battle rifles. The Second Amendment is body armor. The Second Amendment is night vision. The Second Amendment is swords, which I have them hanging up, but you can't see. But the Second Amendment is weapons of war. And I'm tired of pretending, or I've never pretended or acted, but a very large group of people are afraid to say weapons of war. That is the point of the Second Amendment. And it's time that we normalize that for all the other people out there that say, why do you need that? Why do you have that? Are now the ones that are starting to defend your right to carry, your right to own firearms, because now's the time they want to use the Second Amendment to stand up for what they don't believe in. The hypocrisy on both sides is real. So, I say all that to say, use your First Amendment to defend your Second and all the others, of course. Get out there, record yourself. Now, if you're not comfortable with putting yourself on the internet for security reasons, totally get that too. But if you're just hesitant because you're shy, because you think your splits are too slow, or you think your groups are too loose or wide or whatever you want to say, get over that. Post it. I post my misses. I post when I don't fully seat my mag in the gun. Shit happens, whatever, man. I'm human. I'll mess up too. I just hope I don't mess up when it counts. I'd rather mess up on the range and not in a bad situation, right? So get out there and run some drills, make some friends, start conversations here, share Instagram, handles, everything, DM each other and have fun at the end of the day and respect one another, man. We've gotten so far away in society of just having a mutual respect from one another. And that's the biggest thing, man. Like, how many times have I said this? So many people, so many people want to say like, oh, one of the most like emotional driven questions that an interviewer can ask that's anti-gun. how many more kids have to die before you'll give up your guns? And the answer to that is, well, as much of a tragedy as it is, that there is loss of life, no matter it be children, adults, anything in between, doesn't matter. Loss of life is terrible, and that should be considered a tragedy. The problem is you're trying to politicize something so fragile as life. I don't carry a gun because I want it I want to take life. I carry a gun because I love the life that I'm surrounded by. I love my family. I love, like I've said before, I love my fellow countrymen. And if I'm at the right place at the right time to be able to do something about something bad taking place, then, I hope I've trained well enough. And disgusting questions like that. Some people will say the short answer is all of them. I've seen that. Like, okay, well, it's not how you're going to win any people over. But the real question is, how will disarming me save those kids' lives? It won't. But hardening the schools, arming the teachers that so choose or so that want to be armed, not mandating it or forcing it. That was one of the biggest arguments I had with used to be a friend of mine. She said, a student could overpower her and take her gun. I'm like, well, I'm not talking about you. I'm not saying you have to carry a gun. You shouldn't advertise that you have a firearm in the classroom. It shouldn't be known to anybody other than somebody that might be trying to do you harm. Okay? But let's see, we got another super chat over here. Lounger, again, thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. If you didn't quote it, I was going to, as far as Psalm 144 goes, because yeah, that one goes hard, right? I like that one too. But also, as I continue reading the Bible more and more, also there's some, like the story of Dinah and her brothers. Do you guys read that one? Like, that's a good one. I imagine like what would happen like if it was my sister or my daughter. I feel like the actions taken by Dinah's brothers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll summarize it really quick. The Pharisees or Pharaoh, whatever, we'll just say forced himself onto Dinah and then wanted her as his wife. And the father and the brothers were kind of went along with it, like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then they like, while everybody was asleep, they went and like killed all the men in the entire town. And I was like, you're not taking our daughter or our sister. It's like, yeah. So just read that story. That one's pretty solid, But yeah, there's quite a few good ones in there. Let's continue on here. Continue. Yeah, Norse Arms content is content. Post it, throw it out there. And who knows, maybe you can start making money, doing it one day too, monetize it, whatever. It's always cool, All right, here. I see, going back to the PTR, let me get back to some yay binos. I know I'm excited too. We talked about the assault weapons ban in Virginia. We talked about the happy wife, happy life. Good stuff. All items used to defend from enemies, foreign and domestic. Amen. Arms. Everything from small arms to big arms to wet arms if you're talking about an armada. All the arms. Oh, let's continue. Yeah, don't mess up like Micah. Oh man. What do you guys think of Operation Blackout? If you haven't watched it yet, you should. That's the channel's first short film. We are currently in pre-production, planning for our next short film, which this one's going to be pretty exciting because this is not a prequel or sequel to Operation Blackout. That's most likely next. But this one is something that I've had a passion for and been wanting to talk about for over a year now, and it's going to be more of a documentary. So I guess you could say it's the first documentary for the channel too. Haven't titled it yet. Unnamed project, other than Modern Cowboy. And so we're going to be heading out to a ranch that I got to visit and do an entire horsemanship program. I mean, I went from a couple hours my entire life in the saddle to, in 1 week, herding cattle on the side of a mountain. You know what I mean? Like that was really cool out at McGinnis Meadows Ranch out in Montana. And so we're going to be doing something pretty cool with that. We've got a couple of cool people that are going to be involved, cool companies and organizations that are going to be involved. And I'm just excited about that. So that'll be the next thing coming up. All right. Let's see over here. Martin Martinez, I see many of you ready to give up their gun if this president demands it. LOL. I think that's what the media wants you to believe. Actually, I think because all my friends are like, what did this man just say? Oh, hell no. What did Kristi Noem just say? What did Kash Patel just say? No, sir. And I'm sorry, dude. That video that I saw today of Kristi, holding the rifle that she looked very uncomfortable with, like that was cringy as shit, man. I couldn't. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Mr. Guns and Gear tweeted about it, probably posted it on Instagram too. You'll see what I'm talking about. You can just tell it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look organic, her holding the gun. It's a prop. But the problem with this prop is that it's a real firearm. And I'm sorry, if you don't know, Director of Department of Homeland Security, if you don't know how to effectively handle a firearm, then just, let the guys who have probably trained with said firearm, let them be the ones holding it. Even the guy standing off to her, what would probably be her left shoulder, it's like they're showing their guns like to be big and bad. And it's like, okay, what sort of level of intimidation is this? I don't think this is, like what are you trying to do here? So Martin Martinez, I appreciate you being here, man. But the problem is I think the media truly is trying to sway a lot of people into believing like, oh, it doesn't matter what Trump does. Republicans are going to, and his supporters are going to bow down to everything he says. Now they're, he's saying, oh, carrying a gun, that's bad. Threaded barrel, 2 magazines. Oh my God, fully loaded. Wow. I don't know anybody that's carrying a partially loaded gun. And if you are, it's probably because you couldn't afford the defensive ammo all the way. I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense. And so for anybody to say like ready to give up their guns if this president demands it, I don't care who demands it. It's not going to happen. At least in my sake. At least me and my friends all took a step back and said, well, what? And started putting this president on blast. Like, I don't know who you're talking about, but it ain't nobody I know. That's for sure. Oh, man. Tanner, just ask them, if you knew in 5 minutes someone would walk in and shoot us, would you rather have a gun or not have a gun to defend yourself? Yeah, going back to things I was talking about earlier, right. That's, thank you again, Solo, for that. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss another super chat. Appreciate you guys and all your super chats as well. That definitely helps because these horses ain't cheap, man. You know how much hay is? Like quality hay? Because you don't want the horses to colic, because them colicking is not like a baby colicking, and Kel said like, oh, Chance might be colicking. I'm like, oh, okay, well, give her some Tums. I don't know what to tell you. And she's like, no, we got to do like a lot because her stomach could twist and she could die. And I'm like, what? When my son had colic, he just threw up a little bit, like, what are you talking about? Yeah, not the same. So like I said, I'm learning all this. Oh man. Oh man. Let's continue on over here. Close to monetization. That's nice. Slow crawl up. You got this, man. Keep going. Keep going. Let's see here. Wonder how many are afraid of speaking up out of fear from this administration. Again, what are you guys afraid of? Like, that's the other thing, man. It's like, I mean, I'm speaking about it. I'm calling out Trump and his appointees about the stupid stuff that they're doing and saying. I'm not really afraid. I've been calling out federal agencies for a long time now, especially the ATF. Always the ATF. Drag them through the mud all the time because they deserve it, because they're tyrants and they shouldn't exist. So, how many, hey, chat, how many of you guys are afraid to use your First Amendment right now because you think this administration is going to come after you? Well, flip side to that is I'm not an illegal immigrant. So there's that. Okay, continuing on. Oh, man. They said you can only marry our sister if you circumcise yourselves first. They agreed. Then why? Oh, they were in pain recovering. That's right. That's right. I got to remember everything I read. Dina's brothers did a night raid and killed them all after they, oh man. So they pretty much mutilated themselves. And then, you know, and then then they got wiped out, man. Like that sucks, while that's right. So this is my problem with reading. I've always had this issue. I, and you guys actually, I'm coming at you legitimately as always, but like with an issue that I have, does anybody else have a hard time retaining what they read? Like if I listen to something on audiobook, I have a much better time retaining that than I do if I read the Bible, read a book, read a newspaper article for that matter. If I read something, I'll read it in that moment. I'm thinking about it. And then I flip the page and I'll be like, what did I just read again? And then I have to go back and reread it. And then you ask me a day, a two, a week later. Yeah, I read that story. Shit, now I got to go back and reread it because I don't remember what happened. I can remember the essence of what I'm being told. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's something I've always struggled with. All right. Anyway, continuing on here. Yeah, only criminals carry guns. Right. Yeah, I'd like to know what's actually going on in his mind when he says these things. Like, can you just elaborate a little bit more there, President? Like, do you really, I don't think you really believe that because truth be told, and here's the truth, this has actually been the most pro gun administration. The things that they have done have been ultimately pretty pro gun. They have had a lot of big things that they shouldn't do, like continuing to defend the NFA. But then he says things like that, and you're like, wait, help me understand. I carry guns. Oftentimes, yes, guns, plural. Does that make me twice the criminal? No, it doesn't, actually. So, did it look like it weighed as much as 10 boxes? Oh, was that Sheila Jackson? Oh, geez. So, don't be afraid to exercise your First Amendment, no matter what people might think or say or whatever. Let's see here. Hit me up when you're in Montana. I'd love to come watch you work. Maybe I can help out. I'm only a couple hours from the ranch. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Come and take them. Yeah, treat the gun as if it's loaded. I mean, that's kind of like, one of the basic safety rules. Treat every gun as if it's loaded. Like, I mean, just be aware, know that, so there you go. I carry my pocket knife just because I might need it. I always have a pocket. Actually, I've been carrying less my pocket knife recently and more my zero tolerance here. I really like this knife. I really like zero tolerance quite a bit. The micarta grips on this guy feel awesome. Zero tolerance is owned by Kershaw, KAI, and all them. So I love Kershaw and all that. Really sweet looking knife. Like it. It's their number four model, just 0004. And yeah, I typically always have a pocket knife on me, but because of all this, the type of work I'm doing around the house, a fixed blade is just so much easier, to get to, especially when wearing gloves because it's freezing outside and I'm having to break up frozen ice, frozen water for the horses. My my awesome wife just got me some like new Carhartt waterproof insulated gloves because my other gloves I'd be getting completely drenched and they'd be soaking through. And by the time I'm coming in the house, I feel like I'm starting to get frostbite. So yeah. Let's see. Not afraid. Yeah. Not me. In my best Eminem voice, I'm not afraid. Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear ADHD's fun, huh? Right? That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. But thank you for voicing up, Clint. We need more of that. Yeah, man. And I'm happy you're here. Like if we have, I, I just don't want it to be a bunch of echo chambers. You know what I'm saying? We need to have outreach. We've got to have conversation with people that disagree with us politically or on opinions or whatever else it might be. Like we got to have these conversations. If we just shy away from them or become way too confrontational, which look, I'm the first to call out my own flaws, right? I've admitted them. I'm doing it on a public forum because I also want to be an example that, hey, you can admit when you're wrong. You can admit when you've made a mistake, but it's how you recover from those mistakes that matter at the end of it all, right? So, like me getting angry at that woman that pulled out in front of me to try to get a parking spot that I had no intention of even going to. She didn't know that, but that doesn't mean you need to cut me off. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did, but I did in the moment. I'm human. I have flaws. Could that have escalated to something worse? Perhaps. Would I have caught on and said, you know what? Avoidance, not worth it. Let's go. Kids and wife in the car? Absolutely not. Even if it was just me alone, I want to get home to said kids and wife. Don't need to worry about it. I'm not going to die or have somebody killed or cause any damage or somebody cause damage towards me over a parking spot. Especially when I choose to usually park far away anyway. I don't care to be in front of the store. You know, I think about all that 10, 20 minutes later when I should have thought about it earlier. I say all that again to say I'm human. I have flaws. We do need to be voicing up, all of us. There's nothing wrong with speaking. There's nothing wrong with having conversation, especially with those that oppose you. But trying to keep emotion out of it, it can be very difficult. So practice, have those conversations with people that don't see eye to eye with you on certain things. And then another thing I really have to do is get better educated. I need to really, obviously, I dig deep into the Second Amendment. That's something I'm passionate about, always have been. The organization I work for, Gun Owners of America, that's their entire mission. Their mission statement is to defend and restore the Second Amendment. I love that. I have such a deep passion for that it just made sense that when this opportunity for me to come on board and start assisting GOA with social media and everything else, like, yeah, dude, let's do that. That sounds awesome. And of course, here, being a voice, again, using my First Amendment to defend the Second Amendment. That's another thing. That's a phrase I started, like with the Gundys. I talked to those guys, and that's like my opening speech a couple years ago at the Gundys. I think I've said that phrase quite a bit, and like, don't be afraid to speak. Don't be, like I said, don't be afraid to run those drills and to post about it. And that's what I was getting at before I started, going off on a different tangent. Was the community here with all of you guys watching now, almost 200 of you. Thank you for being here. Let's start our own little network as far as like drills go. It could be on my Instagram page or on my Facebook page. You know, Patreon even, which again, thank you all for being supporters there too. That you are. Like, I'll put out a drill. I'll put out a drill. We could do distance. We could do build drills. We could do all sorts of different things. Simple ones. Because I get not everybody has a private range that they can go to all the time. It could be dry fire exercises like, hey, how fast was your draw, right? Like, there you go. Let's post up our different kit, things like that. I think this could be a fun thing. Again, it's just all about encouragement and positivity. That's why I like one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of, Mid-Tier Snobs. You know, they bully the hell out of each other, but it's usually to bully somebody to actually get quality and better gear. I love it. It's so funny to me, and they're great dudes over there. So again, man, I'm having fun. I have fun doing this, talking with all of you. I hope that in some ways it's an inspiration. I hope in some ways that I'm encouraging you to get out there and do the things that you love and that you're passionate about. You know, and it starts small. I didn't always have 110,000 subscribers on YouTube. I didn't always have, 30,000 on Instagram or whatever. And it just, go back to like my very first like Instagram post. It's like, if I remember correctly, it's like I took a video of a guy doing like fire breathing at a Renaissance festival, and I thought it was cool. Oh man. So yeah, just get out there and have fun. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Missouri thing, you're right about that too, Reptile. I see you there. New merch coming to the shop. Man, I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I'm trying to do a lot of things right now. Trying to do a lot of things. So stand by, because I think so. I need a train horn on your Forerunner. Really get their attention. That would do it. Hey, by the way, this is actually really exciting. You talking about the Forerunner, Tanner. So Gun Owners of America, we're hosting. I'm really excited about this. The bad news is I don't think I'll actually be able to make it, which kind of makes me sad, but I digress. Gun Owners of America is hosting our very first what will be an annual event called Gear, which is, imagine, an Overland Expo meets Range Day down in Texas, April 24th through the 26th. I want to say, like, the vendors that we got coming to this thing, again, imagine like the overlanding world, like KC Highlights or KC Lights, right? Nitto Tires, and then Daniel Defense. Like it's that kind of thing. I'm trying to get C4 fabrications out there, Rago fabrications. I'm trying to get, rough country. Anybody and everybody that's got something to offer with the off-roading world, overlanding, cars in general, to go to this thing. And we're already having pretty good success with it. And also, everybody that might be interested in camping and shooting and outdoor adventure, like all of it. So, pretty excited about that. It's in April. That's coming up. Obviously, goals, as I've already talked about, happening in August, 50th anniversary for Gun Owners of America. Not a lot of 501c3s make it to 50 years, so we're pretty excited about that. And of course, we thank all of you who have supported our mission as well. And going back to one of the other things, JC, patience is definitely a virtue, one of which I admit that I'm not virtuous. Because sometimes my patience runs very thin. But I try. Stay calm in those conversations. After 45 minutes, if they are more logical, they'll calm down. If they don't calm down after that, they'll never listen. Believe me, I'm in Washington State. Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see here. The Reptile again. You're one of the best additions an organization like that could get. That means a lot. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You need an MC. What is up with the delay on StreamYard today? You need to MC the Gundies again. This year was a slow roll. Yeah, like I said, guys, a lot happening this year. I was not even able to make it out Monday hardly until like after the Gundies had already started. So yeah, my bad, Gundy's team and everything. Um, but Lyle, I appreciate that. But hey, you can catch me. As far as I know, I'm seeing goals again this year, which again I'm really excited about that. So thank you for that. Yes, let's do some drills. So stay tuned. All right, let me think of some things here, and we're gonna do some cool stuff. Because like I said, if I can get you guys involved, community involved, using your 1A to defend the 2A, get out there, help you get better too. Because if you're, it's one thing to kind of like compete against yourself, but when you start seeing, your friends, other people in the space doing the same type of drill, and then you start to kind of talk about like the gear that they're using, the different types of, rifle or pistol setups that they're using, everything down from like, hey, are you running an optic of some sort, or what optic of some sort, to sling, to grip, to camo patterns, whatever, man. And it's fun. You nerd out for a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. Speaking of nerding out, that's the Second Amendment Report. Look it up. That's a podcast that I'm co-hosting currently. It's also on a radio program out of Houston and New Orleans. Comes out weekly. You have to spell out second. It's the Second Amendment Report. That's been going on for, I guess, a couple of months now. It's a lot of fun. I bring it up because the segments have been really strong on gun advocacy, and that's always fun and well. But we're like, dude, we really like talking about like nerding out on some stuff. So we're gonna have a couple of segments. Um, some gun advocacy, some just gun fun, right? So if you guys haven't checked that out, Second Amendment Report, check it out. Um, yeah, it's a good time. All right. So there you go. Have been really good at making you spend money. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you, or you're welcome. Especially if you're spending money on good quality gear, because that's all I'm ever going to talk about is good quality gear. At least in my experience, it's been good in quality. So there you go. Thanks, man. Because I have a PS5, yes, I have played The Last of Us Part 1, so I can have the infinite ammo option. And when upgrading the weapon on the workbench, the round gets taken out of the chamber. Oh, that's kind of cool. I haven't played Last of Us. Are we going to be doing gun build reviews anytime soon? I miss those. Those are fun. I just can't do them on YouTube. YouTube really doesn't like that. So Rumble, Twitter, I don't even know about Facebook, but Rumble and Twitter. Rumble and Twitter and Twitch. I don't know about Twitch either, but I don't really do much on Twitch other than the live stream. So Rumble and Twitter. All right. If we start that up again, will you guys be happy? I think so. Let's see here. Man, you mean I got to get my truck fixed up in that short amount of time? Dang it. You got this. I have faith. All right. You got this. And I hope you guys do make it out, because that's going to be a lot of fun. I do hope that something happens that I can make it out there, but there's already a scheduling conflict for me, unfortunately, or for the family. For the family. Let's see here. 2A protects the 1A. Yes, the 2A protects them all, but you can use the 1A to defend the 2A as well. It's a little bit of, it's synergetic, all right? Let's see here. If they ever get them, 1A is gone. Look around. You're absolutely right about that. My goodness. Yes, Rumble. Also, Rumble added a wallet feature to do super chats and shit. Thank you, X marks the spot. I appreciate that. And I gave up on Rumble. Bust my pill. Don't give up. Don't give up. I'm actually currently in the process, just to kind of be transparent with you guys, I'm currently in the process of trying to make more time, because I enjoy the channel, I enjoy you guys, I enjoy this community, and I want to spend more time doing that. So stay tuned. I'll leave it at that. And with that, final takeaway is, guys, obviously there's a lot of, it's hot right now. The temperature is hot, even though it's here comes the dad humor. Even though it's 2 degrees with a low of -5 tonight, the temperature in politics and in society is high. So keep your head on a swivel. You know, the entire stay strapped mentality, always, but be prepared. And just don't go out putting yourself in harm's way, man. Take care of yourselves. I think about my wife and kids all the time. I just got to get back home to them. You know, I just got to get back to home to them and make sure they're good so that way I can just take care of what matters here under this roof. That's the most important thing to me. So, thank you guys. Love y'all. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. And with that, stay cool, stay patient, be safe, be smart, and I'll talk with you guys next time, all right? God bless. We'll see you soon.